I'm Lan from BatLadyHerbals, and welcome to my video. Today I wanted to introduce you to a roughly 3-mile little loop trail my husband and I discovered a couple years ago. It's out in Oviedo, Florida, and it is the Yellow Loop at the Sandhills Conservation Area. So there is some farm area around here, and occasionally some of their chickens and other wildlife might roam around. So just be aware on this trail. Not only could you find some amazing native Florida wildlife, you could also find some curious chickens. Something else to be aware of is this plant right here. It is a spiny and spiky member of the nightshade family, commonly called soda apple. And it is invasive, but also of note is that it's extremely toxic. And it was brought here by cattle farmers hundreds of years ago. So it tends to pop up pretty close to farmland. So the beginning of this trail starts off a whole bunch of pines. I think it's kind of a scrub, pine scrub kind of area. But even in scrubs, you can find some really interesting plants, including one of our native grapes, which this one is the muscadine. Now, this is the time of year where you can sometimes luck out and find some of our muscadine full of fruit, but doesn't seem like we have that kind of luck today. This vine is beautiful and healthy, and it looks like we might have a couple visitors again. Hi, guys. And once again, one of my favorite trail plants, beautyberry. This one's beyond the flowering stage, and you can see the unripe berries. So pretty soon those berries are going to be nice and purple and really easy to identify. Don't know if you can hear it, but if you can come out here at the right time of day, you can get a serenade by native insects. I haven't even gotten that far in yet, and we already start to see a little bit of an environmental change here. See more oaks, but we still have a good smattering of pine and palmetto. But you do see that little bit of change. While we're still within earshot of a nice road, you might be able to hear the traffic. It's still kind of wild enough back here that my husband and I just scared off a couple deer. So if you come on this trail, that might be something you could see. But also, this beauty right here, one of our native solidagos, or goldenrod. Plant gets a bad rap because everyone thinks that it causes their allergies, when really, it actually helps your allergies. The thing that causes the allergies is ragweed, which blooms about the same time. But if you see, solidago has bright yellow flowers, and if you could look under a microscope at the pollen is sticky. That means that this is insect pollinated. Insect pollinated pollen doesn't really get in the air that often. However, ragweed has green flowers, and if you look under a microscope, the pollen for ragweed is not so sticky. In fact, it kind of looks like a spiky golf ball, which helps it to blow in the wind. And usually wind pollinated plants and their pollen are the ones that really irritate your sinuses. But I will link a video with more information about Solidago down below. And here is yet another species of Solidago that's native here. This one is probably a good 4 foot, 4.5 foot tall. It's kind of leaning, so it's hard to tell. And then behind it, there's yet a third species, actively being pollinated. So we've come to yet another change in habitat. And this stretch of the trail is one of the reasons we don't usually come out here this time of year, because it is hot and there's not a lot of shade. And though we might be Florida natives, we're very pasty looking people. We sunburn pretty easily. So we tend to stick to shady trails during the summer. But we thought it would be a nice opportunity to show you some interesting things. And in the middle of all of this meadow area, if you look closely, you can find several species of Optuntia or prickly pear. Listen closely. We are surrounded by our fine feathered friends. Who are just chattering away. If you do choose to take this trail, just to give you a heads up, you're going to come to an area with a lot of power lines. You're going to follow the power lines for a little bit. And then eventually you're going to veer off. But if you do follow the power lines, there's some pretty interesting sights. There is a little side area close to the power lines. It's a very nice little out-of-the-way space. Surrounded by oaks. So if you need a little shade or a little break, this is a nice place to take it. Check out this bad boy. Oh yeah, look at that gorgeous flower. Hanging out under the power lines. Pretty sure it's one of our native milkweeds. Not sure which one it is exactly, but I will look it up and write it on the video. Check out those beauties. This little stump of a tree with the red trail marker. It's where you turn. So here we have the native Florida shortleaf pine. And one of the ways you can identify pines from one another is by how many leaves are in a bunch, or how many needles are in a bunch. And with the shortleaf pine, it's 2 to 3. And that's about as long as they get. Another tree we keep running into is this right here, which we are pretty sure is a turkey oak. Turkey oak comes down to Central Florida. The other oaks that look very similar tend to stay up in the more northern Florida range. But if we find out we're wrong, I will let you know. However, the turkey oak has gorgeous leaves that are very distinctive, and it's part of the red oak group in the Fagaceae family. And we're back to the sunnier parts of the trail, which actually border some private property. So make sure you're watching out for property lines. But enjoy. Keep in mind as you're hiking in these areas on this trail that don't have a lot of tree cover, what they do have a lot of is this annoying plant that everyone loves here in Florida, called the sand spur. Luckily we're here while it's still green and not as annoying, but when they start drying out and get all over the place, walking on those is inevitable and they hurt. So thank you for joining us today. We're roughly halfway through the loop, and figured this is a good place to leave you because that way you have some place to explore if you come out on your own. Once again, I'm Leanne from BatLadyHerbals. If you like what I do, feel free to find me and support me on Patreon. If you enjoy my little blurbs about plants, I also have a whole bunch of videos specifically going into details with plants on this channel. I'm going to link some of those down below for you, but feel free to explore it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with what I'm posting. Along with the videos for the specific plants, I also have a blog. I will post a link down below. And feel free to find my Teespring and shop on there. It has all kinds of designs about hiking and herbalism here in Florida. So thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful day.